If you want to learn how to vibe code apps completely for free, this is a perfect introductory video for beginners. I'm going to show you how to use Google AI Studio to create websites and apps and deploy them on the web for free. And if you feel overwhelmed with all the different AI tools, highly recommend join the community where you can see other people how they're making money with AI using the right tools in the right way. Enjoy the video. Let's go over our agenda for today. Where does vibe coding fit? Um, 10,000 foot view, I'm throwing you in the deep end with vibe coding. I don't know a lot of, I think I surveyed most people when they come in, and they all entered mostly beginners. So just note that this is going to stretch you as skill sets. Today is going to be pretty introductory and basic, but tomorrow I'm going to throw you into the deep end, throw you at how to build advanced apps because knowing how to use AI vibe coding apps or AI developers. That's the real innovation, basically, is that you don't have to learn how to code. Now, if you want to build a website, build an app, do anything, or even build some complex automation, now you don't need the 10,000 hours of skill sets to become a developer or to become an automation expert. Then we're going to go into tools. I'm going to cover just on a high level view of these are many of the different tools that touch when it comes to AI coding or AI vibe coding. And then we're going to go through a couple examples with each of these. Then we're actually gonna get into demos. I'm gonna do two demos. We're going to give you a navigation. We're gonna be using Google AI Studio today, using Gemini 3, just because one, it's free, two, it's easy to use. So I want to get you guys easy introduction to vibe coding and building apps so you have a good experience. And then for the ones that want to take it to the next level, that's tomorrow. That's going to be Claude. Claude and VS Code. And you're going to build much more complicated apps, not just dependent on Google's apps or the ecosystem. So we're going to do two demos. We're going to do vibe coded websites because those are pretty easy to do. Everyone needs a new website. Also as a great side hustle. Vibe coding website is very easy to do, and I'm going to show you even how to deploy it to the web. So it shows up and you could drop your website hosting costs all the way down to almost, I think it's like $4 a month, $5 a month. You could drop your web hosting costs down. So I'm going to talk about that. And then our second demo is going to be much more advanced. It's going to be a content generator. Very simple. I'm going to pipe in an idea. And that idea is going to get read by AI, generate an image, generate text, and post on Blotato or post on LinkedIn using Blotato. So a little more of advance of like, okay, content automation. I'm going to show you demos of all this stuff. But that's what we have planned for today. And then I'm going to save the last 30 minutes at the very end after the hour for Q&A. That's going to be the main thing. So with that, let's get jamming. And then I'll have the chat open. You guys can pop questions in the chat while I'm doing the whole demo. And then we can begin. Nice. Okay. So where's vibe coding now and why is it important? Just 5 minutes on this, super quick. Because traditionally you would have to play with Zapier, Make.com, any of these no-code automation tools, even NAN, right now is one of the most powerful automation tools. All of them become more or less irrelevant as a skill set to learn because all of these node-based automation tools, building apps, or they're basically no-code tools, becomes irrelevant for building automations because when you go straight into code, which is what you're doing, you're becoming an AI developer. The only difference is now you'll have a pair AI partner that's going to help you build out or he's going to do all the coding and fix everything basically. So building these automation tools are going to become less important because the mindset that I want you guys to have is that code fixes all, and you're going to use either Gemini or Claude to write the code for you. Because in business, you're trying to do some automation, you're trying to innovate and build some product. These tools are going to take that skill set next to null so that you could quickly go from idea to a website or to an app and host it on the web for other people to use in days and not weeks, months, and cost thousands of dollars. Because again, traditionally, website development costs thousands of dollars. I also used to have a marketing agency and building funnels. We would charge five to $10,000 to build a proper marketing funnel. There's a lot of copywriting that goes into it mostly, but now most of that becomes irrelevant because you guys could vibe code the most complex funnels, websites, make them look beautiful, better than someone that you could pay hundreds of dollars an hour on Fiverr to design a website. Complexity becomes next to nothing free when you start using these vibe coding tools. Two business use cases for these. One is a website. So, for example, let's start throwing out examples now. And let's take this, and let's take this. Just kind of combining these guys. Beautiful. All right. So two working demos of what we're going to build today. Actually, there's another one I got to get. So number one is website design. So this is a layout of Google AI Studio. The reason why we're using Google Studio is because one, yes, it's free, very powerful, and I want you guys to have a good experience because I don't want to put you guys on Cursor, Lovable, Replit, any of those no-code tools because they're subscription based. They're going to charge you based on every little question that you have with AI, and you're going to have lots of questions, lots of changes, and I want you to have relatively next to unlimited powers of making changes so that you're not restricted by, oh my God, I'm burning through my credits. And then you have your next thing you know, you're spending more than $100 and you're building a website, building an app, and they're just saying, pay us more. So this is just a great, we're doing like two levels of which are the tools to actually do the building. Um, this is a website that I just vibe coded about 30 minutes ago. Just I was like, hey, one sentence, build a professional website with the brand colors of black and gold for an AI consultant with a form that goes to insert a hyperlink, for example. So from that one sentence, this entire website was created, took about 2 minutes. And then now this is just the base one. I'll show you also how to add photos or embed forms or buttons to make it interactive. This is just the version one. You could iterate off this. But again, if you want a good side hustle, rebuilding websites, you can sell them for like 500 bucks and just build them in a day and just go to every local business in your area. Easy side hustle. Also, for every business too, building a website is a big challenge most business owners start in their journey and they're like struggling with. So that's why you can use Google AI Studio. The other thing I'm going to show you too is how to get it hosted on your website. Notice in the URL, this is my website, simpletechskills.com. It's slash test. And so this is that same website living permanently on my domain, not on Google. So I'm going to show you that process of after you build your website, how to deploy it to your web server or your hosting service. I'll recommend two. And that way you get a nice professional website that you could relatively build and deploy in a day and cost you nothing. And it's going to look beautiful than trying to use any WordPress, Squarespace, Wix, GoDaddy, any of those ClickFunnels, no code, or drag and drop tools. This is going to be a very simple way. So that's example one of building websites. Example number two that I'm going to show is building apps. Quick interruption. I hope you're enjoying the video. If you want to learn more, I highly recommend join the community where you can see other builders that how they're actually using AI in their business and making money with AI. I'll see you there. Link down below to join. Apps that solve a problem. When you do app development and you're building an app either for yourself, for your business to solve a problem, highly recommend it solves one problem. It is very easy to quickly go down the rabbit hole of adding many features, which adds more development time, which takes more time from you to do the most important thing, which is actually marketing of the app. So I'm going to show you how to build an app using Google AI Studio. Just keep in mind when you start your journey in building your first app, keep it very simple. I'm going to show you a very easy on how to find profitable app ideas and clone them basically. so that you can get started, so that you're also putting on our marketing hat and saying, is there actually a side hustle or a business here before you even build the app, for example. Now, this app, for example, is called, I just vibe coded this, and again, 10 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. This is an app. This was the original prompt. Make a journal app that has a push button so the user can talk to the app. And then when they're done talking, it transcribes their text, saves it to a file. And then it also, you can see they also put two tabs there. One button shows the history of all the logs of the, basically like a journal, voice journal log. And then on the other button, it says review. And from review, add a prompt where you're a life coach and you look over the past transcriptions and you determine any potential issues, make recommendations to improve health, wealth, relationships, give strategic strategies, simple steps, simple action steps they could take today for motivation. So this little paragraph, the prompts I don't want you to memorize. I'm actually going to show you the very easiest way to create prompts for apps. Very two short, two super hacks. But just note that the apps are the prompts are very short, very brief, and here is the fully functional app. So if I click tap to speech, today I had a really good day. I taught a bunch of students how to vibe code apps. They walked away with the understanding and skill set of how to build an app. Then some started an app for their own side hustle, became successful, and others went on to teach it to their community and spread the good word of what AI is possible. So today was a good day. So one click button. To code this complexity of apps is now crazy next to nothing. And that's why we're using Google. So it saved, it transcribed, it recorded my voice. It's in history, and now if I go to the review tab and I click this button, start review, now we're using two different bots, one to do voice to text transcription, another one that's pre-prompted to be a life coach that takes the previous, pretty much your journal entries, and then adds a special prompt to say, hey, I'm a life coach, and give you some advice to basically help you. Here's a summary. Ripple effects of your impact. Your entry radiates deep fulfillment and pride, not from ego, but from contribution. The core pattern here is empowerment. And then here's a breakdown, health, wealth. So very simple, very easy. But now here's the interesting thing. When you add AI to your apps, you're able to personalize the experience, not just log data, just like a database or an Excel tracker or a that's where these apps can become very powerful. You can add AI to do very cool superpowers, either text to image, voice to text, even feed it so that's pre-prompted so that it could become like a life coach, something quick, fast, and easy. And then this app, I'm also going to show you guys, is also hosted online on a public URL that you could go to. I don't recommend actually. Um, this is publicly hosted through a service called Vercel. I'm going to show you how to deploy your app so that it's on the public web so that you could share it with your community or it's not tied down to your computer or browser. It's actually live in the web, public web. And this and interacts and works. So test one, two, audio test one, two, test one, two. So to do this complexity is really what we're taking advantage of when we're using Google AI Studio. And I'm showing you this is one workflow. And tomorrow we're going to cover another workflow. We're going to use more advanced tools, Claude and VS Code. So let's get started. So those are the two demos. And then I also have the demo of the content generator, which actually is going to allow us to segue into navigation for this. Can you post the link? Yes, absolutely. So let me see, Lumina Social Flow Generator. I think this is the social media generating app. Okay, yeah, this one works. So let me get Forbes. Let me get a like a news article. So this is a demo of another app. I'll just take this one. So, creating content is a challenge. You got to, oh my God, I got to read the articles. I got to think about what I want to say on LinkedIn or your social media platform of choice. And then, oh, I got to go to a website, log in, and create an image related to this. Shoot, what do I do for the prompt? And however long it takes you to create one piece of content. Wouldn't it be nice if you had an app that you can just take a URL? This is another app, Vibe Code in a Google A Studio. This is a content generator. So you just paste the URL right here, add it. You can add many different sources, multiple articles, multiple YouTube videos, just copy paste text for inspiration, and then it will consume all of that information because we're using Gemini Pro, which is the most powerful app, which is crazy powerful. Uh, and we have the entire workflow already set up in here. There we go. So now it fetched the article, read the article, generated a prompt related to the article, generated the image for that article already. I can save this or I could regenerate it if I wanted something different. I could edit. Also, it wrote a LinkedIn post here and then also an Instagram. You can see how you can have it automatically do the post for all the other platforms here, just custom tailored. And then for posting, it's not actually hooked up until it's actually deployed, which this one is not. But if I click post, it's going to use an API service that's going to connect to Blotato. That now we will talk about APIs, but Blotato is a third is Sabrina Romanoff's app that allows you to create and schedule content. However, we're going to be using the API if you want to, well, if you want to build this, we're going to build this tomorrow, which is the content automation one. So this one is, yeah, so when you click post, it has a connection to Blotato so that it will automatically post this to all your social media profiles so you don't have to play with Zapier, NAN, or any of those content or those to like automate your content. You can vibe code it using this. And this is all Google AI Studio that's using Google Gemini 3 underneath the hood, plus many other models. So let's now go over a quick navigation. Okay, so where we're going to be hanging out is Google AI Studio. So all you need is Google account. You can sign in through the backend. This is their playground. This is where it's their sandbox for you to play with the different APIs and tools that Google has so that you could put them in your apps so that you could pretty much that's it. So you could use those services in your apps to do image generation, video generation, anything like that, for example. Yes, you could connect. It's not connecting Google AI Studio to Blotato. It's we're using Google AI Studio as our AI developer, and no different than if we were to use Claude, for example. And as we're building our app has the functionality of an API service, and that API service is just Blotato. It could be any API service. It could be to Buffer, it could be to Metrical, could be to any, but that's just using one API service, for example. It's probably the easiest way to like create content and schedule to post to multiple platforms at the same time. That's the easiest versus trying to do them all individually. So let's do a layout of Google AI Studio. Highly recommend everyone just sign up with Google and then you could get into this account. This is where you're going to be playing around today. And it's all free. The great thing about why we're using Google AI Studio is two reasons. One, Google Gemini is so intuitive of like actually building the whole app functional. You're going to spend less time pressing the troubleshoot button going, it's not working, it's not working, it's not working. With other apps, Replica, Cursor, and other ones. And you're going to have a great experience. You're going to be like, oh man, vibe coding and building apps, so easy. I don't know why people are complaining. The other side is underneath the hood, Gemini 3 is incredibly powerful for building this. And plus what you're also getting access to is these superpowers, let's call them. The nice thing about what Google Gemini 3 is your AI developer to help you build inside of Google AI Studio, which is like the IDE or integrated plat. I really want to use like software development terms because you guys are becoming software developers. So I want to like use the right terms so that you can see the difference between the different ones. Basically, Google AI Studio is an integrated development environment. It's a fancy word for a text editor that helps you write the code, no different than VS Code or Cursor or any of those, for example. But the nice thing underneath the hood is that Google has all of these cool superpowers. Like, do you want to create conversational voice apps? That feature of me doing voice to text, if you were to try and implement that feature or add that feature to your app in any other environment, Cursor or anywhere else, you would have to get an API service. You would have to have Cursor read um, the actually the developer documentation to figure out how do you hook up the API, what are the variables, and so he's got to write all that code from scratch. Google's just like, oh, what would you like? You want image? Do you want video? Do you want text to video, speech to text? Record? Do you want access to the webcam? Uh, do you want to use video using VO3? Do you want to use images using Nano Banana? Both of the most powerful image and video generators. So these are all superpowers that Google's going to automatically connect and hook up to your app underneath the hood. So what I do recommend in Google AI Studio, on the left-hand side, there's three parts. There's Start, which is where you're actually going to start building. Um, and then do you have a list of your apps? I recommend tonight, and I'm going to give you guys homework. Tonight, play in the gallery. This is the gallery, and this is it's not like the best voted apps. Google just picked certain apps that have certain functionality to demo what's possible with Google AI Studio because um, a lot of it is just opening up your imagination to be like, wow, you can create beautiful landing pages. And if you click on any one of these, if I just click on probably, I like this one, it opens up the Google editor. The code you have your and your editor basically left-hand side is your coding assistant where you'll chat to basically talk with him to have him do all the edits. You will write 0 lines of code during this program, which is nice. Um, and then on the right-hand side, you have the preview, just what would it look like in the web, and then also the code. What is the actual files that have the code for you to push it to an actual production environment, somewhere on the web, on your computer, wherever you want to post a host. And also you have some cool things up here. You could download the whole files to your computer so you own the whole IP. Don't worry about that. You can push it to GitHub, which we're going to use to push to Vercel, for example. So these are all in the gallery where you can just get some inspiration for what you could build. The other thing I highly recommend play with some of these apps. These apps are pretty wild for what you could create. And then you have up here, these are the different features or the superpowers that Google AI Studio can automatically add to your account. So you can add Nano Banana, for example, which is for images. Gemini 3, which is their most powerful text generator, basically chatbot. Um, and then they have, oh my gosh, lots of different things that you could hook up. Very powerful. So that's all in the gallery, and I want you guys to take some time to play with it. Can I take an existing URL and put it here and have the AI system redo a landing page? Yes, you can actually, let's just take, for example, there are websites that are like Dribble is actually one website. There are many different websites to get, let's say, website inspiration. This is just one. So if you want to get some inspiration for some cool designs, color palettes, I'm just gonna say I'll just pick I'll just pick this one. Simple. And then if I view this, here's the thing though, and I'll show you how to do see if I could just snag. No, I can't snag. I was just trying to see if I can snag a screenshot of it, but I can do just that part. Let's just do that part. If you press Command Shift 4 on your computer or Mac to screenshot, that will take a screenshot and then you could give it to Google AI Studio, start a build, and you could paste that screenshot there. Actually, let's actually a good segue into where you get inspiration for apps. Honestly, I know it's going to be pretty obvious, but the App Store and even the Google AI or Google's, I don't know what the Android store is. These are great just to find inspiration for all sorts of ideas, basically. And this is because, and I'll tell you a quick case study. You want to replicate a feature of an app that's already existing. I don't want you guys to reinvent the wheel or try and start something new, for example. That way, that way you're coming into a market with an app that has a feature that solves an already existing demand, versus trying to create something from scratch. That's going to be the easiest for like trying to find or what's the best profitable app to start. Find one that's already existing, add AI to it, and then you could take screenshots from it, pop it into Google AI Studio, and say, clone this app, for example, or clone this feature. Actually, that's what I did for actually this example, because I just went to Google AI Studio. Or no, I went to, so I think I was just the App Store, and someone had a text journal app, and I was like, oh, that could be replicated. So you get complexity basically for free. Now, I want you guys to go to Google AI Studio now. We're going to segue right into our first little project because we need to pop something in the oven. I want you, could you right click and save the HTML? Yeah, you could take the whole HTML. You could take HTML files. You can upload um here. So if you go down here, you can add the plus symbol and you can upload. What I do recommend is just like you can take the whole HTML, pop it in, it could replicate it, it could clone it. You can even open it in there. And then have Gemini make all the changes, and then I'll show you how to push those changes or paste them on your website. Basically, it's just going to give you HTML too. So starting off, let's actually build the first website all together. So super simple. Just go to Google AI Studio. This is the app side right here. Nice. And then from here, now I do need to talk about something very important. No more typing. Typing is not efficient in the AI world. You actually, if you're still typing, it's like going to be next to impossible for you to do anything prompt engineering because there's so much context that you need to give to these large language models. Typing is the slowest form of communication. So I need you to use voice to text. I'm going to show you a couple options. Uh, if you're on PC, I'm sorry, I don't know recommendations for PC. Actually, I do have one for PC, but just note I will do that little spiel. If you want to get real heavy into AI, definitely switch to a Mac. So these are some free tools that will allow you to do voice to text. This one's Super Whisper. I'm using and I recommend Voicing. Not sponsored by any of these. I don't have any affiliate links. I actually prefer Voicing. All of these tools allow you to do voice to text. And then if you're on a PC, you have speech notes, which is free. Any one of these tools will do voice to text. If you're on a PC, you can just click this record button and it's now recording my voice. Test 1 2 1 2 test 1 2 1 2 test. This is how you're going to be doing voice to text prompting going forward. Highly recommend if you just take away one thing from this course and program, voice to text for everything, not just AI. It's going to be the best investment that's already going to 4x your productivity with just that little improvement with no extra effort on your side. So that's speech notes. I'm going to be using voicing, and then So, and then most tools they do have a feature, well, they'll do speech to text, but just know it's really good to find voice to text for your computer so that you can do it basically wherever you are on any app, anywhere on the computer. I'd rather you just naturally actually trust voice to text is going to be going to be the most. So we're just doing a website. This prompt is just going to be personal to you. I just need you to match this first part. Create a website as a single page HTML file that cool. This one, I don't have to type. I'm going to paste this in there or paste this in the chat. Just start your prompt with that because it's going to make it very easy to copy paste this HTML file anywhere else. If it has multiple files, oh, you're going to have a bad time. So I want this to be interactive. Now I want you to describe any website that you want. There's actually no wrong answer. It could be an e-commerce site, it could be a consulting site, it could be a single page. Talk about the brand colors. We'll talk about photos in a moment. For AI education, it's an app that trains people how to learn AI that they could download and get a free 30-day trial for Learn AI in 30 days. In the brand colors of black and gold, clean, professional. Anything after that is going to be personal. Like you can take screenshots of existing websites, voice to text, and then it doesn't have to be long or short, just something to get started. Make sure it just has that first part. Create a single page HTML file and then go ahead and click build. That's all. You cannot break Gemini, basically. Gemini is going to do all of the coding, all of the work, and also make it work too, which is like super nice. And he's going to actually make recommendations for new features. So while he's going and doing his project, he's going to do now. There's no set time limit that they could take. They could take 5 minutes, they could take 10 minutes, 30 minutes. There's no really set time. So we're just going to let him cook, basically. It's going to be in the oven and bake. We just have to sit patiently and wait. While he's sitting patiently and wait, great question, Devin. Speech notes over Super Whisper. Really, if you could do, I recommend Super Whisper because Super Whisper lives on your computer and then can be accessed anywhere on the computer versus speech notes, which speech notes to use, although it's free, you have to go to this website or you have to be on a website to use this. So you and then copy pasting becomes annoying. So I recommend speech notes. Yeah, Super Whisper, Whisperflow, any voice to text software that's out there. These are just some of the ones I like because I'm super nerdy about speed. Okay, so he is cooking. While he's cooking, we need a place if you don't have for this website to go and live. There's really honestly just Hostinger. Hostinger is going to be the easiest. And look, they're having a sale. That means you could host your website for $3 a month. Your entire website, unlimited website. Well, not unlimited website domains, but like almost close to unlimited like landing pages. Think of it like. And then it's going to be very easy to copy paste and post. You don't need WordPress basically just to keep it simple. So while we're kind of here, you could also create an account for Hostinger. This one, I do have a discount, an affiliate code, which I'll put in there. And I actually do have an affiliate code for VoiceLink. Actually, I'll give you guys a discount too. VoiceLink still because it has a one times versus the other ones are subscriptions. And then we're just kind of waiting for him to, finish. Perfect. Nice, nice, nice. Oh, he's even adding functionality. Okay. So you'll get your first version of the website. This is what I want you. I'm more focusing right now on teaching you guys the workflow, basically, not trying to make the most perfect website, perfect product. Basically, what's more important is what is the workflow. You're going to have changes, many changes. What I recommend is start your voice to text app and then just go through and just start critiquing. You don't have to be in any order. You could jump back and forth. I'd rather, and then what I don't want you to do is just submit one change at a time. I want you to batch and bulk and basically put together a list of changes for the model to do, and they'll go ahead and do it. If it's 5, 10, really doesn't matter. It could be as complex as you want. Just go through your wish list of changes. And I'm going to show you also the next thing too, which is hyperlinking links and then also adding images, which are important. So I'm just going to go through and do some changes, for example. I want you to take out the button that says live demo, and then the personal AI tutor, I want you to prompt him to also hard sell and get people to enroll. You can also entice them with a discount. And then I want you to use this headshot for the creator, Dr. AI. Okay. One, voice to text. Two, I just made a list of multiple changes. Three, we're going to add some things in here. We are going to add, one is we're going to add a link for AI tutor. I'm going to say for AI tutor, that's the menu button, link to, let me see if I could get, I'm just going to grab a URL for it to link to. So if you have other links that you want when they click buttons to go somewhere, just add that URL and just describe where you want him to add. Because you're going to do this in like 4 versions. Version 1 is going to just make sure you have all the text on the website. Version 2, you're going to make sure it has all the aesthetics, brand colors that you want, font. Version 3, you're going to add images, which I'm going to add right here. Now, images do have to live on a public URL or public, yeah, basically somewhere publicly. And for example, I'm hosting, this is SiteGround, very similar to Hostinger. Once you create an account, you'll have some file manager there that you can add your files for your website, basically. And this is where you can just very easily under public HTML create an image folder, and then you can upload any. I recommend JPEGs, honestly. Now, that way, now that this is just a headshot of me, for example, this now lives publicly if I do my URL, simple text skills, slash, what's the name of the folder? Images, perfect, and then slash the name of the file. So if I press that, it's also case sensitive. If I press enter, that image is now public on the website. This is important for 2 reasons. One, you can now give that URL to 2 different AIs. One is to your AI to basically put on your website, for example, if you want AI to put images on websites. The other side is if you want AI to use your headshot to generate images with you in it in your automation, for example. So it's going to need that image hosted somewhere for it to, when we start getting to more advanced things. So that's why this little hack serves 2 purposes here. So now that I got a URL here, and I'll come back to hosting on SiteGround too. Um, so and here. is the URL for the headshot. Okay, so I have my headshot URL and I have my link and then I also have my list of changes. And he's going to go through. Remember, it's not the specific things, it's more of the general workflow. We're going through our iterations. We like the text on there. I like the brand colors. I'm going to add some images. You can add more. I'm just going to do one for the example. And then you can add hyperlinks to other pages, which when they click tutor, they should go to basically, it's a Calendly link if you want to think about it. So I'm just making some changes, and he's going to go and do some cooking, and then under code, index.html is all you need technically. We're going to see. I need to give him the command at the very end, right after this. Cool. He's making all the changes. I also want to test out. He also embedded AI in it, which is also kind of interesting. Um, And this is that's why Google AI Studio is so gangster. Like it does way beautiful more UI than like Lovable. You're gonna move very fast, both design, making edits, adding features to it, and you're gonna have a good time coding, and you're not gonna get they have a very generous free tier, let's say, for example. Like you could vibe code for I was vibe coding for like hours, like on multiple apps. And then if Google's like, hey, here, okay. So we made our changes. We should have our headshot somewhere. Oh, we put it there. Okay, I'll take that. As long as it embedded somewhere on the website, because it doesn't have a bio. Nice. And then if I click on AI Tutor, yep, takes me to a Calendly. So perfect. So hyperlinks work. Does it cost a lot of credits for us to use the actual app? No. Great question. These are excellent questions. So, once you build your app, now this is where Google is enticing you with being, oh my God, you're having such a great experience. You're making so much progress with so much less effort. And they're adding all of the cool features. They're making it nice because at the very end, which is hooked up underneath the hood, is your API key, which I'm going to show how to create one. It's very easy to create one and then also to add it to your app. And then you get all the different Google products. You could add Google Maps, you could add images, video generate, VO3, Nano Banana, text editing. I'll show you some cool, but but and then once it goes live, then it does go to your API, and then it does charge per usage. But then here's the other part. You're paying cheaper than what you would pay if you were to pay a subscription for anything, for text, for image, for video, because you're using the API and it's separate than because here's the cool thing what you guys are doing. You're accessing all the cool AI tools from the API from the backend for and then what is an API, John? An API is basically a service that it's almost like a phone number that you could call. I like the analogy of a pizza shop. And you're like, hey, pizza shop, make me a pizza. And they're like, okay, cool. We're gonna make you a pizza. Here's your order number, 1, 2, 3, 4. Call us and it'll be done in 5 minutes. So Google has an API, a service that, and will give you a login number. And that login number, which we'll get, allows you to basically it allow that API key is your user login. So your app can log into your account, use your API credits without you having to bug you at 1 a.m. Be like, hey, John, I need access. Can you log me in? It's like, it would be able to log in and make the request. You'd be like, hi, here's John's you have John's card on file, pizza shop. Here's John's card file, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like to order 2 pizzas, please. 2 images, 2 videos, 2 texts, for example. And then Google's gonna be like, okay, cool. Give us 30 seconds, give us 5 seconds, and we'll send the request back to you. And so that's an API service. And so you're gonna pay per request, but each request is pennies or even cheaper than pennies sometimes. Each one has a different cost, but know that you're going to pay less than if you go on the front end where everyone's getting paid a flat subscription, $20, $40, $50 subscription. You may or may not use all of those credits. Honestly, $10 of credits is insane to like for what like you could get away with. Like it's you could so your apps are gonna run. So what we're showing here is you're gonna personalize AI and also here he added chatbot. So tell me a joke. He's actually going, he just implemented ChatGPT or Gemini on the website. What? What? And so now let's see if we just take this all the way. This looks good. I could continue making changes. You're going to keep going making changes. You're always going to have changes. But also here, Google AI Studio is going to give you some suggestions. Hey, looked over your code. Probably should add there's recommendations, add a discount button, add an AI tutor call to action, add testimonials, uh, enhance the hero with video, add social proof. So you could click on any one of these and Gemini will add those features to your code. But now let's get it ready to publish to the web because I want you to go through the whole workflow. I'm just going to say, make sure everything is functional on a single page HTML file. So remember, single page HTML. That's the secret. Well, that's more of a cheat code. So he's going to make sure all of the cool things that you've built on your awesome website. We've added images, we have buttons, it's stylized. This would have took me weeks to try and get it all this, plus with the functionality of like adding an AI chatbot. Jesus. I was using Gemini 2.5, which is cheaper than 3.0. You don't need a Ferrari every time you're driving. So now he's going to package everything up, hopefully and do it right, so that there is one HTML file in here that is everything you need, basically. And now when you pay for Hostinger, I honestly just go Hostinger because it's like $3 a month. And then they they tier up nicely if you want to get real because it's going to be an addiction. You're going to build more websites, more apps and stuff like that. So they make it very easy for you to scale more websites, more landing pages. When you sign up, you're going to have a file that looks like this, or when you set it up, there's going to be somewhere in the settings that says file manager, for example. And then from here, you're going to have some public HTML basically folder. And inside of it, the cheat code is basically if it's the main website, so your root domain. So my domain is simpletechskills.com. If it's just the root domain, it's just going to be outside in the public HTML folder called index.html. That's it. And then we're going to copy paste the code here, which based on everything, da da da, but it's currently non-functional because index is missing a script tag to actually load the React. I will fix it, da da da, and add it. Okay, so hopefully he did everything. So now we're in the index file here, which opens up. I'm going to click anywhere inside of it, press Command A as in Apple to select all, Command C to copy, and go to SiteGround. And I'm going to actually go to, if you're going to go to a root domain or subdomain, or not root domain or subdomain, but a landing page, you need to create a folder. So I'm going to call this folder test. And in that folder, you're going to add a HTML file and just call it index. I know it's a little confusing, but since it's in that subdomain, the URL becomes slash your folder name. So with meaning slash test, which is where this will live. So if I click on, I need to make sure I open the right file because the last thing you want to do is delete the wrong file. So copy, paste. If you need to create so you can do one of two things. You can download and drag and drop the file because Google will also allow you to download here. You click download app and then it will download. The other thing too is inside Hostinger also has this too. You can sometimes create, yeah, here, new file, and then you could call it index.html. I'm just going to do two, for example. And then from there, you can paste all this text there. And now, so let's see. Now, if I Command S to save, nice. Sometimes you need to clear the cache or clear the memory so it doesn't reload or they don't pull an old version of it. So sometimes you'll go to cache and you'll just click I think it's just this one. Yeah, this one. This one flushes the cache so that it's fresh. And now test. So simpletechskills.com slash just the folder name, which is test. And nope, because there's a lot of extra stuff on it of the React and other stuff. That's one of the biggest things. We have a lot of extra stuff. So I'll just have him clean it up and then I'll copy paste over. We have a lot because there's a difference you get into if you're getting into stuff like this, and you could add the other files too, but I just want to keep it simple, especially for your first one too. Nice. And then keyboard shortcuts for PC is also, I think it's Control C instead of Command. Nice. So while he's cooking on that, I do want to start another quick project. So get that in the oven cooking so that because I want to show you guys quickly pushing it out because there's two solutions you're either going to build apps or you're going to build websites. So if you're building websites, you're gonna deploy them or say you're gonna push them or save them to whatever your website is of choice, which is basically Hostinger or WordPress. Let's see, Hostinger, SiteGround. Okay, cool. So to make it, yeah, he's gonna just rewrite it. Okay, so while he's doing that. But these are just static web pages. Web pages and landing pages are like the two main uses that you're going to be, especially for businesses. Highly recommend create your website, then two, create your landing page. Also, if you have a link tree, no need for a link tree. You could just vibe code your own link tree as well too. So anything functioning like that. Landing pages, yeah, those are going to be the main ones that you're going to create, at least for websites. And then, yes, the recording is going to be sent out, but for members, which you're in the community. And that is for Devin. Now, quickly, I want to start a parallel project, which is pretty quick and simple. That's going to go to apps. If you're going to build functional apps or tools, those are going to go a different route. Those are going to be hosted on, we're going to use a service called Vercel, all completely free. That's going to host your functional app or tool that has AI. Because technically, him at this point, he should technically now go to Vercel because he's now using AI. Yeah, fix the bug. Okay, cool. So go back to Google AI Studio and we're actually just going to build the same prompt. I'm just going to put the prompt in the chat. That way you guys can copy paste that guy. And I'm just going to copy paste that same one here. And we're just going to click build. So what does this one do? This is the app that uses another tool. It's technically using two of the API services inside Google. One is the voice to text feature. And then second, well, yeah, it's not just voice to text, but it's also your microphone voice to text, and then it's also using transcription. And then the second one is it's using just a Gemini 2.5, which is just a chat model, basically. But the interesting things of what we're doing here is when you start building apps, you're usually building some database. You're trying to store the data so that you can save, very similar to like an Excel sheet, for example. You're saving the data or the records for you to have memory of. So every time you open up the app, this one is basically, this is the journal one. So this one will have the voice to text feature and then have a separate tab that will have a log, a history of records. And then here we'll have an AI functionality where we click a button, has a prompt, and he'll basically ingest all that text and then give you like a personal coaching kind of thing. But he's going to use other features from the API service. Now, once he's also almost there, because what I want to get to is pushing this to Vercel so that your app is now has a public website. It's not hosted on your computer, and then you can code a login and even a paywall so that you can start charging for it, basically. So he's done for it, done building it. The crazy thing is the time it would take to build this functionality of this whole app would be like you'd be in Cursor and Replit, like on their next mid-tier subscription to be like, ah, fix the bug, fix the bug, fix the bug. So I'm not going to go through the next part, which is basically you would go through your iterations of changes. You would go test and debug it basically. But for time, I want to move to how do you just deploy this app once it's all built and functional. Then all you do is one, you definitely want to make a GitHub account. GitHub is completely free, and a GitHub account is basically, it's a file folder or cloud storage for your code. That's it. It's just cloud storage for your code. You can see here I have in my profile many different apps that I've built and also have pushed up here to be saved, to be backed up. So like for here, this is the voice journal from the first one. You can see it's just files with just text, just the code, and that has a nice little README. So now, and we're going to use because basically we have three parties. Google AI Studio is our builder. We're going to push to GitHub. GitHub is our storage, basically, so we could back up the code. And from GitHub, we're going to pull that into another site called Vercel. So go ahead. I definitely recommend creating a Vercel. Let me put both of these websites in the chat as well too. Vercel is specifically for hosting apps. They have a very generous free plan, um, where you could even get like almost like a couple hundred users on your account, like using your app and not pay anything. Like there are caveats to that, but they have a very generous free plan, which is super nice. So while he is, okay, this one's building the website and he's struggling, but that's okay. So once you're building the app and you're going through changes and you're happy with your changes, you want to click on the GitHub file or icon right here, and you can just click Save to GitHub. We're going to give our repository or folder a name. I'm going to call this Live Journal Demo 2. And then you give it some description. You can make it public or private. I'm going to make it private, and then I'll click Create GitHub Repo down here. Oh my gosh, is this like the easiest way to push or to save changes to GitHub? When we get into the advanced stuff, which I'm going to throw you guys in the advanced stuff, you're gonna be like, wow, Google AI Studio spoils you for coding. You're like, coding's so easy. Bottom right hand corner, it says, hey, all of these files have not been saved to it. So can you stage and commit all changes? So that just means, hey, these are like in, I won't say limbo, but these are like in waiting to be pushed to the pushed to your folder. They're not final saved. So once you click that last button, now that all of your files for all of the code, everything that we just been all of this for this app that we just built right now with one prompt. All of that is now saved. And if I go to my GitHub, cool, and I go to my repositories, upper right-hand corner, repositories. Cool. There's Life Journal 2 that we just pushed to GitHub. It's private. We can see all of our files here. Very nice. What it won't push is your API keys. Your API key is the login, which we're going to get. So for your app too. So now what we're going to do is go and after you create an account for Vercel, this is what you're going to see as your login screen. All you need is this URL of the GitHub repo of where the file is stored. So you're just going to copy the URL because we just pushed it from Google AI Studios, now backed up in GitHub, and now we're just going to copy that URL, give it to Vercel, and just click Add New. We're going to create a new project. It says, hey, paste your GitHub here. There it is. And click Continue and give it 5 seconds. Sweet. And then click Deploy. Now, for your app uses certain packages and certain software and dependencies for it to function. Vercel is going to go and download that software and run it on this virtual server, basically, so that you will get a public domain for where you can access this app. But there is an extra step that we have to do. So cool. Congratulations, your app is public, but if you notice, it is not functional. So, and if you click visit, it's just going to be a blank screen. And the reason why is because you have not hooked up your API key yet. So let's go get an API key and I'm going to show you where to get that. So in Google AI Studio, cool. I'm just going to go back here. Awesome. So we're back in Google AI Studio. This is just the main domain, basically. Bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see a little button here that says Get API Key. When you click on that, they're going to show you if you have many different keys for different ones. You're just going to say create a new key, name your key. I would name your key whatever your app is. I'm just going to say Live Journal Demo, delete me. You're probably gonna have to create a project. It's very easy. Just create a project and then you can link it to anything. I'm just gonna choose this project for right now and click create key. I'm gonna delete this key right after. Best practices, never share your keys is also best practice because if someone can see your key, they can use that API to abuse it. So keep your API keys secret. This is the here it is, delete me. So if I click copy, now my API key is copied to my clipboard. And sometimes when you go to your app, sometimes you have to ask them to, what's the API key variable I push to Vercel? Just to double check because it saved the API key as a variable, as a like a name, basically. We just want to double check what is that name. It's usually API-key or something like that. We'll let that load while he's searching the code base to figure that out. I'm going to go over here because in Vercel, then you need to add your API keys. They're not saved in your code and also not saved when you push to GitHub for security reasons. They're usually saved in what's called a .env file, Edward, Nancy, Victor, env. So we need to add those into Vercel. So you're going to click on settings. And then from here, you're going to go down to environment variables. And then from here, you have your key and value. So He's still thinking about going to give us the API key. But say the value for the key was just like this random number, for example. And then let's say API key was this. Let's say that was the variable, just for this example, for example. Your app is going to, hear you. Okay, now it tells you. Okay, cool. Because this key name needs to be exact. Case sensitive with the underscores. So you're going to get the name there. Perfect. And he tells you where to go. He's like, go to your Vercel dashboard, go to say, I mean, and if you have any questions, you're stuck anywhere along the way, you can totally ask AI and be like, I'm stuck. How do I do this for Vercel? The other thing too, what I do recommend as you're kind of building, we're going to get into more advanced building tomorrow. Um, have a pair coding partner. What is a pair coding partner? It doesn't, you're going to burn a lot of credits if you use your AI builder or developer, which is Google AI Studio, what we're using here. You'll burn a lot of credits if you just use him for planning or planning, troubleshooting is usually the main two questions that you have. So you don't want to burn all your credits in here. So you can do for the free plan for people that are budget. Same place, Google AI Studio. In the studio, we have been hanging out, and I'll put this URL here. We've been hanging out in the build. This is where you build apps. You can also, highly recommend, play in the playground. The playground gives you access, once you click on it, playground, right here is where you select different models. So here, if I click on this, you can select and play with Gemini. Actually, it's pretty much Gemini because they have and you can play. I don't need Pro. I just need 2.5. 2.5 Flash because he's cheaper. But they have a very generous plan here of like free usage. And then here, if you have any questions, um, I'm working with Vercel. I just deployed my app. Where do I put my API key? Remember, voice to text. You could use ChatGPT, you could use GenSpark, you could use Claude, you could use Google AI Studio for free. And let's see, there we go. And have a pairing partner because you're going to use him for, hey, I'm planning this app. What's the best API to use? Or two, troubleshooting. Hey, there's a bug. Help me fix this bug, or help me with other steps that are outside of Google AI Studio, like Vercel, for example. So if you get stuck, use your coding partner to be like, okay, where should I go? Oh, okay. There's some place called environment variables. So I need to go to my dashboard, settings, environment. Okay, it gave me the name of the API key. That's the variable. And the value is that key. Okay, so that means if I go here, and if I go under settings, that's where settings is. Environment variables. We have our key and our value. So done. Now, I'm just going to move him off screen because once you add your API key and variable, remember best practice, don't show your variable your keys. Cool. Um, it's going to, I think it auto refreshes too. Like it will auto refresh and push and pull like the new, if you update GitHub automatically with any new updates for your app, Vercel will automatically query and then pull in the new one. It takes like 5 minutes, but he'll automatically pull in whatever's the latest update from your GitHub file. So once you have your API key set, then you could just go to visit. And now this is a public app. It's outside, it's completely detached and outside of Google AI Studio. The only thing it's using is the API key to get access to the Google features here that we coded inside, such as the chatbot and we can add records here. So, and this is a public URL. You can continue from here to build a paywall, to add Stripe checkout, to add a free usage, to add a login screen. We're going to get tomorrow into more advanced AI coding tools, But that's how you would vibe code an app inside of Google AI Studio, add all the features that you want, and then you're going to push it to GitHub. And then from GitHub, you're going to go into Vercel. You're going to pull it from the GitHub URL, and then you're going to add your environment variables, basically, which are your API keys. There may be one or many that you'll have for different services. And then that way your app could live on the website. And Vercel has a very generous like traffic of like you can get I, don't quote me, but I think it's like 100,000 searches or like visits a month for free. Like, but and then this is probably like the easiest of the workflows too. And then this is for building apps. And then over here for building websites, that's when you're going to use this feature. You're going to build your website the way you want. He's a lot of the other thing too is do budget time for coding and fixing bugs. It's going to test your patience very much, very much. But it's part of being a developer. It's 10% choosing the right tools and 90% iterating yourself to success. You're going to iterate. And when you build a lot of these, whether it be an app or website, I highly recommend start small. Start small, simple, one feature, one page website, and then grow from there. What I see a lot of people do is they'll start adding too much complexity to their apps, or they'll give a huge wish list of things they want their app to do. I would just start very small with building um, your website so that the website or app, slowly you start building in more complexity for it. But stuff that you could build for custom GPTs, you can build them in now professional apps that you could use for tools. You could use, yeah, it gets kind of very interesting from there, which is exciting. So this is just a raw introduction to get you guys introduced to Google AI Studio, to building websites, building apps, working in Google Studio to get them built, and then pushing it to Hostinger or Vercel so that they're now public on the web and they're actually be used. So this is that's more or less the workflow for just the general for building any of these. Tomorrow we're going to get into using more advanced workflows. So this is just one, but you're kind of limited to the Google suite of products and stuff. What if you don't want Google Suites? And what if you want to build more complex automations and tools that run on your computers so that you don't pay server cost or anything like that? We're going to get into VS Code tomorrow and Claude Code. Claude Code is way better than Google AI Gemini, but he's really built out for building much more complex apps. So we're going to use him tomorrow. That will require a $20 a month subscription to use Claude Code. But the reason why everyone's raving about Claude Code, because he's so good at building websites. And for context, some people have gone through my main page. So my whole website and funnel automation, everything you see here, vibe coded using Claude, but it took 10, 15 versions to tweak. You can embed video on here, and then you can build very complex assessments and forms. We'll get into that tomorrow, where you could build a complex assessment where you can, I mean, stuff like this, you would have to pay a service $40 a month type form to build some survey, and where now Claude Code or Gemini would do the exact same thing. They can build these very complex automations and surveys, and then they're actually hooked up to your CRM, to Zapier, to Make.com, or whatever your automation tool of choice to pipe in. So all of these stuff, and then yeah, so that you could build more complex websites and apps for relatively next to nothing. So I'm going to pause there. That's completes day one. And your homework tonight is to build a website and build an app. I'm going to push you guys because I want to see one, who turns up tomorrow, and two, who did their homework, because all you have to do is put one prompt in. Some app, some website, just one prompt. I just want to see, you don't even have to push it to like Vercel or your website. I just want to see if you built something in Google AI Studio. If you want to learn more, I highly recommend join the community where you can see other builders that how they're actually using AI in their business and making money with AI. I'll see you there. Link down below to join.